The CEO brought his little girl to the playground that morning, expecting nothing more than another quiet day. The sun was spilling golden light across the grass. Children's laughter rose and fell like music, and the merry-go-round squeaked in rhythm with the breeze. At the far end, beneath the shade of tall trees, 7-year-old Emily Hayes sat alone on the swing. Her small hands gripped the chains tightly, her lips pressed into silence. It had been 3 long years since the accident, 3 years since a single word had passed her mouth. On a bench not far away, her mother, Olivia Hayes, watched with a phone in her hands. She wasn't scrolling, not really. She was just holding it, using the screen as a shield against the glances of other parents. To them, it was another Saturday morning at the park. But to Olivia, it was another reminder of the silence that never seemed to end. Then a laugh, a deep, warm laugh that seemed to brighten the air itself. She looked up and saw him, a man by the tire swing, pushing his son. He looked to be in his 30s, dressed simply in a faded navy hoodie and worn jeans. He was black, and his laugh carried the weight of sunlight, easy and unforced. When the swing slowed, he noticed Olivia. He gave her a polite nod, then took his son's hand and walked toward Emily. He knelt, lowering himself to her level. His voice was gentle, almost like a secret shared. "Hi there," he said softly. He held out his hand, palm open, not pushing, not forcing, just waiting. His eyes flicked briefly toward Olivia, asking for silent permission, then back to Emily. "Mind if we say hello?" Emily didn't move. Her fingers clung to the chains of the swing. Olivia's instinct screamed to step in, to protect her daughter from the awkwardness of strangers. But something in the way he waited, his patience, his stillness, made her hold back. Emily looked at that open hand for what felt like forever, and then, carefully, she placed her tiny palm against his. His smile deepened, but stayed calm, steady. "You know," he whispered, as if letting her in on something important. "My son thinks that slide over there is only for the bravest kids. But I think I just met someone even braver." He tilted his head slightly, a fingertip brushing the air near her chin but stopping short, letting her choose. The air was tense, stretched thin like a string about to snap. And then it happened. Emily's lips parted. "How?" she whispered. Olivia froze, her heart hammering so hard she thought the whole park could hear it. 3 years of silence, broken by a stranger in a faded hoodie. But he didn't celebrate. He didn't draw attention. He kept his voice soft, steady, as if speaking to her was the most natural thing in the world. "Because brave kids don't have to be the loudest," he said. "They just speak up when it really matters." Emily blinked, as if weighing his words. Her grip on the chains loosened. "What's your name?" she asked. "I'm Jack," he answered, smiling gently. "And this is Mason, my son." Mason gave a shy wave. Emily's lips curved, just barely. "I'm Emily," she whispered back. Jack leaned closer, lowering his tone to a playful secret. "The best slide here isn't the big one. It's the little one behind the sandbox. The sun warms it up, so you go even faster." Her eyebrows lifted, a flicker of curiosity shining through. "Want to try it?" he asked. Emily turned to Olivia. Olivia's throat tightened, but she nodded. "Go ahead, sweetheart." Jack didn't take Emily's hand. He walked beside her instead, matching her pace, giving her space. Mason ran ahead, pointing out the slide. Emily followed, step by careful step, until her feet carried her forward with a little more certainty. Olivia stayed seated, and for the first time in years, she heard something she thought she'd never hear again, her daughter's laughter. It wasn't loud, it wasn't perfect, but it stitched something broken inside her back together. A few minutes later, they returned. Emily's cheeks were flushed, her smile small but real. She climbed back onto the swing as if reclaiming her place. Jack leaned toward Olivia, his voice low, almost respectful. She's got a lot she wants to say. She just needs someone to ask the right way. How did you do that? Olivia asked, her voice trembling. He shrugged softly. Sometimes, kindness is the only language that works. The breeze tugged at his hoodie, the sun catching the edges of his face. Olivia knew instantly this was not someone she could thank and forget. This man had just unlocked the door she had been pounding on for years. Jack, wait. He toned, Mason's small hand tucked securely in his. Would you have coffee with us? She asked, her words spilling quickly. My treat. It's been 3 years since I've heard her speak. Jack hesitated. His jaw tightened slightly. He looked down at Mason, then back at her. I don't usually do coffee shops, he admitted, but there's a small place on Oak Street. Quiet. Simple. Perfect, Olivia said, her voice shaking but full of hope. We'll follow you. Before they left the playground, Emily looked up at Jack. Can Mason ride in our car? She asked softly. Jack gave a small, grounding smile. Maybe next time. Kiddo, today we ride together. Emily nodded, accepting the answer with surprising ease. Olivia saw it. That spark of acceptance, that small moment of growth. It wasn't just a word. It was the beginning of many conversations yet to come. The silence between them stretched, but he didn't rush it. He simply stayed, letting the quiet feel safe. Emily studied his open hand for a long moment, then finally placed her tiny palm in his. His smile deepened, soft and steady. You know, he said gently, like he was sharing a secret just for her. My son says that slide over there is only for the bravest kids. But I think I've just met someone even braver. He tapped his finger lightly under her chin, then stopped, giving her the choice. The air was tight, like a string pulled taut. And then, Emily's lips parted. How? She whispered. The sound was faint, but clear enough to make Olivia's heart slam against her ribs. 3 years of silence, broken here, in front of a warm-eyed stranger in a faded hoodie. Jack didn't clap, didn't cheer. He kept his voice calm, steady, because brave kids don't need to be the loudest. They just speak when it matters most. Emily blinked, weighing his words. Her grip on the chain loosened. What's your name? She asked, voice trembling but alive. I'm Jack, he said with a smile. And this is Mason, my son. Mason, his hair tousled by the wind, gave a shy little wave. Emily's lips curved faintly. I'm Emily. Jack's eyes softened. He leaned a little closer, lowering his voice again. The best slide here isn't the big one. It's the little one behind the sandbox. The sun warms it up, so you go faster. Her eyebrows lifted. Want to try it? He asked. Emily turned toward Olivia. Olivia's throat tightened, but she nodded. Go on, sweetheart. Jack didn't take Emily's hand. He simply walked beside her, matching her slow pace, letting her choose. Mason ran ahead, pointing toward the slide. Emily followed, careful, cautious, but steady. Olivia stayed on the bench, and then she heard it. Laughter. Her daughter's laughter, stitching something whole again inside her. Minutes later, they came back. Emily's cheeks were pink, her lips curved faintly upward. She climbed onto the swing like reclaiming her own space. Jack leaned closer to Olivia, his tone low. She has a lot to say. She just needs someone to ask the right way. How did you do that? Olivia asked, still stunned. He shrugged. Sometimes, kindness is the only language that works. The breeze tugged at his hoodie. Olivia knew this wasn't a man she could simply thank and walk away from. He'd opened a door she'd been knocking on for years. Jack, wait! He stopped, Mason's small hand tucked safely in his dark eyes curious. Would you have coffee with us? My treat, Olivia asked, her voice trembling but firm. It's been 3 years since I heard her speak. Jack's jaw tightened. He glanced at Mason, then back at her. I don't usually do coffee shops, but there's a little place on Oak Street. Quiet. Perfect. Olivia said quickly, her words almost spilling over. We'll follow you. Before they left, Emily looked up. Can Mason ride with us? She asked softly. Jack smiled, grounding her with a steady rule. Maybe next time. Kiddo, today we ride together. Emily nodded, accepting it. Olivia saw it. That small step, the beginning of many conversations to come. 15 minutes later, they were in a diner on Oak Street. The air smelled like chocolate pie and strong coffee. Mason slid into the booth across from Emily, and within seconds, the two were whispering as if they had been friends for years. The server dropped off menus. Jack said only 2 words. Black coffee. His hand rested on the table, calloused, scarred. When he shifted, his sleeve slipped back, revealing a faded hospital wristband. He tugged it down quickly, but Olivia noticed. Were you just in the hospital? She asked gently, not interrogating, just inviting. He was quiet for a moment, then nodded. Recently, she asked softly. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he watched Mason break a slice of pie in half, sliding the bigger piece to Emily. Her little laugh filled the space. Finally, Jack spoke. I just got out of VA rehab about a month ago. I used to be a paramedic. Did 2 tours in Afghanistan. The last one, he paused, steadying his breath. Our truck hit an IED. My legs took most of it. My best friend didn't make it. I'm sorry, Olivia said, her voice quiet, sincere. Jack nodded, eyes still fixed on his coffee. Since then, loud noises knocked me sideways. Crowds, sirens, even TV. I moved to the edge of town with Mason. Quieter there. I started volunteering at the park. Not because I could save anyone anymore, but because kids reflect back what I need, safety. At the counter nearby, a couple glanced at his wristband and scars, their eyes sliding away quickly. Olivia could almost feel the invisible wall people built around him. Jack breathed slow, grounding himself. My sister stopped talking when our dad left, he continued. Everyone thought she was broken. Truth was, she just stopped trusting. I didn't pull words out of her. I just sat there until she wanted to answer. He glanced toward Emily. Kids know who's a safe place. That's what you did with her, Olivia said softly. You didn't force her to talk. You gave her space. And when she finally spoke, you didn't make it into a scene. You just let it be. She exhaled shakily. I've taken her everywhere. Doctors, therapists, specialists. I run a medtech company focused on communication. I bought every device on the market. But technology can't create psychological safety. This morning, you did. Where's the manual for that? The server set another plate of pie down. Mason pushed the bigger piece toward Emily again. She laughed, crumbs on her lips, and Olivia felt hope tugging at her chest like a new rhythm. Jack chuckled softly. I'm not sure companies would want my resume. They see the gaps, the medical notes, and I'm a black man on top of it. Feels like the door closes before I even knock. Then they're not the right people, Olivia said firmly. Someday I'd like to talk about bringing what you did today into how we train. Connection first, tools second. Jack rolled his coffee cup slowly between his hands, thinking. You don't owe me anything, he said. You have your world. I just have mornings with this kid. Honestly, he saves me more than I save anyone. Maybe it's both, Olivia replied. You give kids a safe place. They give you a reason. Suddenly, a plate crashed in the kitchen. The sharp sound cut through the diner. Olivia flinched, but Jack was already grounding himself, shoulders low, breath long, eyes fixed on a calm point. Mason noticed and exaggerated the same breathing pattern. Emily froze, then copied Mason, following the rhythm. Inhale, hold, exhale. The panic drained. Emily straightened, picked up her fork, and kept eating. Olivia's throat tightened again, not from fear this time, but awe. She had just watched a living blueprint of safety in action. No app, no device, just presence. Emily looked at Jack. I breathe again, she whispered. Mason grinned. Exactly right. Olivia turned back to Jack. Jack, I want to ask this as a mother first, not a CEO. Can we codify what you just did? Crouch, wait, peer model, anchor breathing. You just created a map for how to help kids regulate. That's bigger than any tech I've ever bought. Jack leaned back, hesitating. I'm not an academic, he said slowly. I just do what feels right. That's enough, Olivia replied. We can build the language around it. I don't want to use you as charity. I want to hire you. Actual work. Real pay. You teach my team trauma-sensitive communication. Technology should learn from people, not the other way around. Jack's gaze dropped to his scarred hands. He glanced at Mason, who was now showing Emily how to grip a football. I don't want to be anyone's poster, Jack said. Don't bring me in just so you can say you've got a black veteran on payroll. Olivia leaned in. Steady. I'm not looking for a poster, Jack. I'm looking for a partner. Jack didn't answer right away. The silence that followed wasn't fear. It was calculation. He let his eyes lift slowly, like he was measuring every word before it landed. If I agree, he finally said, I want to start small. No rushing. Practice first. Then write it down. And then, just for a moment, a smile flickered in his eyes, soft enough to ease attention. When I get that first paycheck, coffee's on me. I'm not letting you keep covering the tab. Olivia laughed. It wasn't loud. It wasn't forced. It was thin, genuine, like the sound of the very first page sliding out of a printer after weeks of silence. Deal. She held out her hand. Jack didn't take it right away. Instead, he glanced toward Emily, who was backing up 3 paces, getting ready for another throw. Only then did he extend his own hand. The handshake was steady, not too soft, not a show, just real. The evening was folding in around them. Birds were calling each other home. Emily came running, cheeks flush pink. Mom, I can throw straighter now. Olivia bent down, pressing her forehead to her daughter's. I saw, she whispered. Emily spun toward Jack. Are you coming tomorrow? Jack looked over at Mason. If the slide champions team approves. Mason grinned and high-fived Emily. Their palms tapped together like punctuation to end the lesson. On the way home, Olivia drove slower than usual. Emily hummed in the passenger seat, the same tune from the morning, but now with a few new notes tucked in, almost like an answer to yesterday's question, what is bravery? At a red light, Olivia looked at the violet streaks across the sky. In her mind, training steps lined up one after another. Crouch, open hands, wait, breathe. 426, peer model, retreat to calm zone. Tomorrow would be different. Not a day about technology first, but about people, so that the technology could learn what it means to be more human. Monday morning, Olivia brought Jack to headquarters. She didn't lead him through the glass conference rooms where noise and chatter bounced off the walls. Instead, she guided him to a smaller lab. Sound-dampened walls, warm lighting, chairs covered in fabric instead of steel. At reception, the clerk asked to scan Jack's badge. The scanner beeped, slowly, too slowly. The clerk smiled politely and asked to scan again. 2 employees behind them. Quick beep, quick nod, no delay. Jack said nothing, just exhaled, slow. Olivia noticed. She filed it away. No need to explain. The work would speak louder. Inside, the core team was waiting. Ethan Brooks, the blunt systems engineer. Claire Morgan, shop product PM. Dr. Laura Patel, speech therapist. And a handful of younger engineers. Ethan opened with no warm-up. We want to understand your framework. Something repeatable. Something measurable. Jack picked up a marker. He wrote 4 big letters on the whiteboard. SAFE. Then added SC. He turned back. Observe before you speak. When you walk into a room, don't rush to questions. Notice the shoulders, the hands, the eyes, who they stand close to, who they avoid. Ask, he went on. Ask open questions. Questions that don't trap them. Would you like to is different from do this. And always acknowledge the right to say no. Follow. Don't drag them. Walk with them. Let them set the pace, the direction, the moment to switch. And empower. Recognize small wins. Don't turn speaking into a stage. Let the child own the moment. Claire scribbled furiously. Can we codify the signs of readiness? Jack nodded. He wrote under S. Shoulders lowered. Long exhale. Eyes steady, not darting. Hands unclenched. Leaning forward, even half a step. If you don't see at least 2 of these, don't move to verbal prompts. Dr. Patel leaned in, and when there's a sudden trigger, Jack drew quick notes on the board. Balloon pops. Step 1, drop to the eye level. Step 2, model the 4-2-6 breath. Step 3, get a focal point. My hands are count hats in the room. Step 4, cue a peer model. Step 5, once the rhythm returns, suggest a small shift. He paused. Often, stopping is the best intervention. Ethan frowned, still hearing instinct. Where's the data? The metrics? Jack smiled. Not defensive, just calm. Measure only what served protection, he wrote. Time from trigger to stability. Number of self-initiated communications. Eye contact. Gestures. Words. Breakthroughs per session, verbal or not. Ratio of delayed interventions over forced ones. These numbers aren't to push kids into speaking, Jack said. They are to help us know when to ease off, when to wait. Olivia added, the tech team can add sensors, heart rate, wristbands. But the goal isn't to push. It's to reduce noise, lower volume, adjust light. Ethan typed notes. Supportive data. No output quotas. Understood. That afternoon, they tried a simulation with Nora, a quiet little girl from the trial group. Before she arrived, Jack had the whole room sit in silence. He set a timer for 30 seconds. 10 seconds in, engineers were shifting in their seats. 20 seconds, someone glanced around nervously. 30 seconds, the timer chimed. Jack spoke softly. That's the waiting rhythm. If 30 seconds makes you uncomfortable, imagine what 3 seconds feels like to a child when we fill it with commands. Nora entered, eyes down, clutching her mother. Jack crouched low, palms open. I'm Jack. Do you want to sit near Mason? Mason had been invited as a peer model. Nora didn't answer. She stepped half a pace forward. Jack slowed his own breath. Her mother gave him a desperate look. Jack only nodded, as if to say, we have time. The printer clacked. Nora flinched hard. Jack lifted his hands where she could see. No touch. Just here. 4, 2, 6. Mason copied, exaggerating the breath so Nora could follow. Her shoulders lowered. Jack smiled gently. Good job. Want to see the minute slide? The lights there are warmer. Nora glanced at Mason. He nodded. Warm slides go faster. Nora gave the tiniest nod. The group walked alongside her. No one pulled her hand. From the side, Ethan whispered, I get it now. Claire answered, it's a process that protects dignity. Later, Olivia caught a manager eyeing Jack's resume. Too many gaps. Not sure he's stable. Olivia didn't dodge. I'll sponsor the phase. Jack is our psychological safety coach. Every trial runs through me. Her words landed like an anchor. Back in the lab, Jack gathered his markers. Thanks for today. I know here, it's not just the tech. It's the doors. Olivia met his eyes. If a door is closed, we'll redefine the entrance. The work will open it. Jack smiled, warm but bright. Tomorrow, I'll draft SAF version 0.1. Steps, signs, open language. But one rule stays. Never turn a child into a test. That's a company rule too, Olivia said. In the lobby, Mason ran up. Dad, I got to be the peer model. Jack ruffled his hair, smiling. Emily tugged Olivia's sleeve. Nora went down the warm slide. And you? Olivia asked. Emily shrugged, whispering, I slid in my mind. The words were so subtle Olivia had to turn away, hiding tears. On the way home, Jack stopped at a corner cafe. He lifted a paper cup. Not the first paycheck yet, but let this be a down payment. Olivia clinked her cup against his. From that day on, SAF wasn't just letters on a board. It was a promise that safety wasn't an accessory. It was a foundation.